Black Gold, a documentary directed by Mark and Nick Francis. Presentation by Samantha Justiniano. Summary of the film. The documentary Black Gold focuses on the Ethiopian coffee farmers and their misfortune at the hands of global trade. The film follows a man named Tedeschi Meskela. Tedeschi manages the Aroma Coffee Farmers Cooperative Union, in which he represents over 74,000 coffee farmers. Tedeschi travels internationally trying to find a better market for his farmers. This film also touches base with different countries and people where coffee is a major commodity. Baristas have the idea of a perfect cup of coffee and will do whatever it takes to make the perfect cup. By watching this film, you come to terms that the farmers rather have a fairer trade than more aid. The consumers can bring a change if awareness is given to the consumer. Tedeschi. Some facts. Ethiopia is the birthplace of coffee. Coffee is the second most actively traded commodity. Globally, over 2 billion cups of coffee are drunk each day. It only takes 50 beans to make the perfect espresso. It takes 4 years for a coffee tree to grow, and on the 5th year, the tree produces the proper beans. 15 million Ethiopians rely on coffee production. 67% of Ethiopians' export revenues come from coffee. Africa is the only country to become poorer over the past 20 years. World trade in Africa has fallen to 1%. The international price of coffee is established in New York and London. Why does this matter? 7 million people in Ethiopia are dependent on emergency food aid. Farmers have resorted to planting chat and cutting their coffee plots in half. Chat is a narcotic consumed in East Africa but is banned in the United States and much of Europe. Ethiopians are barely getting by. Those who work in the coffee exchange processing work a full 8 hours and get paid less than $1 a day. The people of Ethiopia just want money to afford to send their children to school, provide clean clothes and water, and be able to feed their families every day. The World Trade Organization is said to be based upon power, and developing countries have no chance. If world trade in Africa increased by 1%, it would generate $7 billion more a year. Why does this matter? Locally, the communities do not have extra money to help or keep schools going for their children. State-wise, Ethiopia is one of the poorest countries in the world. Globally, 2 billion cups of coffee are drunk daily, and the dominators of the world coffee trade include New York commodity traders, the international coffee exchangers, and the trade ministers at the World Trade Organization. Arguments. Ministers across Africa want to end subsidies. Rich countries pay their farmers $300 billion in subsidies every year, which cripple the ability of developing countries to compete in the international market. Money is lost in the chain of processing coffee, starting with the farmer and ending with the consumer. Tedeschi wants to cut out 60% of the coffee processing chain by adopting the free trade. Coffee chain versus free trade chain. Right now, the farmer gets 3 cents to every regular cup of coffee. It goes from the farmer to the buyer to the exporter to the roasters and then to the retailers. With the free trade cup of coffee, the farmer is directly linked to the coffee cooperative, and the coffee cooperative is directly linked to the retailers. So by then, the farmers will be getting 15 cents per coffee instead of 3. What is being done about this issue? This issue was really big back in 2004, but in 2007, Starbucks opened a center in Ethiopia to help coffee farmers improve the profitability of their crops. In 2009, the Ethiopian government suspended exporters' license by accusing them of keeping coffee off the market until the prices rose again. In 2011, Ethiopia's exports are still at an unusually low at 8% of gross domestic products. Also, since the screening of the documentary, there have been numerous donations to help the coffee farmers of Ethiopia. Starbucks had a strong reaction to the film and became active in helping out the farmers. About the filmmakers. Nick and Mark Francis began working together after they threw some ideas together and were commissioned to produce films on Channel 4 in the UK. They worked on several short documentaries before Black Gold. We were provoked to make a film about coffee after it was announced at the end of 2002 that Ethiopia was facing another famine. The difference this time was that the coffee farmers were being caught up in this new food crisis while the global coffee industry boomed. The directors hired on Hugh Williams as an editor. Williams had over 15 years of experience in making international documentaries.